Let me start off by saying that we flip houses better than 99% of the country. I've made millions of dollars doing it, and I've built a company that's allowed me to remove myself from it while still doing over 100 deals a year. And because the business is able to function without me, I doubt that I'll ever stop running it. There's not really a reason to. But let me tell you, there are a ton of things I hate about flipping houses. And it's part of the reason why you see me spending my time on all these other industries and different projects. If you're new to my channel, my name's Ryan Pineda. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur, and the goal of this channel is to help people live the wealthy way. If you have no idea what that is, go to wealthyway.com and get access to our free course, our free Discord community, and our free planner app. There are absolutely no upsells. I just want to see people become wealthy. Let me start off by saying that I am super grateful for house flipping, and I would not be where I'm at today without it. And I truly believe that house flipping is a better alternative for 99% of people than their current job. It gives you the ability to make stupid amounts of money. It gives you the freedom to create your own business and create your own lifestyle. And it's also an industry you don't have to worry about going anywhere. People are always gonna need a place to live. Houses are always gonna get run down. People are always gonna need to sell quick. So there's always going to be opportunity as a house flipper. This is not true for other industries. Tech is changing things rapidly, and jobs that are good today may be gone tomorrow. So with all that being said, I am pro house flipping. I love teaching people how to build their house flipping business, and I love seeing people get their first deal. There is nothing more rewarding than that. But what I'm gonna tell you is my own perspective as somebody who has other opportunities. The big thing you gotta realize is everything you do has opportunity cost. And so for me, when I look at the limited amount of time I have every single day, I have to figure out what is the best use of my time. Is it getting the next house flip deal, or are there bigger things I can do to impact the world or make more money? Well, for me, there are a lot of other things that can hit both of those categories. But nonetheless, let me tell you why I've transitioned away from trying to grow my house flipping business exclusively to now working on all these different projects along with my house flipping business. Reason number one is that house flipping is extremely capital intensive. For example, right now we have over $20 million worth of loans on all of our current house flips. Obviously, this is a lot of money raised to make profit. And that's not even counting all of the cost of our marketing every month, all my overhead, all my employees. That's just raising money to buy the actual properties. Now, if you get into the wholesaling business, you don't really have this problem because you're not actually having to buy the properties. The only capital you're really worried about is running the business on a day-to-day with the overhead, the employees, and the marketing. But with house flipping, you do have to raise large amounts of money in order to make a profit. And what ends up happening for the majority of house flippers is as they scale, they end up becoming more poor. And what I mean by that is strictly cash poor. Pretty much all of the profit they're making on their flips, they're then reinvesting into the next deal. I know this because I personally had to do it for years and years to grow the business to where it is today. And it's a conversation I have a lot with our students at Future Flipper because it becomes inevitable with scale. The reality is most real estate investors are broke. They've got high net worths, they've got a lot of assets, but they're always taking this cash and dumping it into the next deal. And honestly, I don't mind it. I don't think it's a problem as long as you keep a certain amount of reserves so that you're not stressing about selling your next deal. But it is one of the reasons why I don't necessarily want to scale the house flipping side of my business. Right now, we've got around 50 to 60 active flips ongoing. If I wanted to double our business, that means I gotta go out and raise $40 million. I gotta go get more staff, more deals. It's just very capital intensive to scale this business. But when I look at these other endeavors I'm doing, like with tech or with e-commerce or with social media, it requires way less capital. I don't need as many people, I can get softwares, and I don't have to buy tens of millions of dollars worth of product to do it. Because that's really what we're doing as house flippers. All of our houses are just our inventory, and we're waiting to sell them to make a profit. So I've just realized with my skill set and where I'm at today, there are so many other opportunities that don't require so much capital raising. Now, the other part I hate about house flipping is the labor portion of it. The biggest struggle when it comes to labor is with contractors. So right now we have about 50 to 60 properties. Not all of those are under construction. Some are waiting to get started on, some are on the market, some are already in contract to sell. I would say we have about 30 of them that are actively being worked on for the project. That's a lot of construction going on, and that's a lot of labor that we need to go find and hire. And right now, as you know, the labor market is very thin. There's people turning down work because there's so much money being thrown around everywhere. So getting labor to fix up all of these houses is no easy task at scale. You can make it happen when you're doing just a couple of flips at a time. You might need 1 or 2 contractors. We need a whole bunch of contractors and subs in order to fix these houses at scale. And honestly, the whole renovation process of flipping houses is the thing I dislike the most. I know there are a ton of people out there who get joy out of taking something that's ugly and turning it into beautiful. I'm personally not one of those people. At the end of the day, my goal is to find really good deals, get them fixed up, get them in great shape for the end buyer, and then sell it, make a profit, and just do that over and over again. I have no sentimental attachment to these houses. Once again, for me, they are inventory. But once again, if you're wholesaling, you don't have to deal with this side of the business. Sure, you're leaving more money on the table, but you avoid less headache, which as I'm filming this video makes me think whether I should just focus on wholesale only. But nonetheless, wholesalers still have to deal with the other side of the labor pool, which is your staff. For us to flip this many houses at scale, we've got to have a COO, we've got to have marketing, we've got to have a sales team, our own project management team that's checking on the contractors. It requires a pretty big staff. And finding good staff, whether it's contractors or your own in-house team, is never easy. You've got to find the right person, you've got to have a good hiring process, and you've got to have a great way to train and retain your employees. I actually did a video about company culture, which I will link to down below, that talks a lot about how we do this. And at the end of the day, what you're trying to really grow is a great sales team. But here's my personal dilemma. If I'm gonna build a really good marketing team and a great sales team, is wholesaling the best vehicle to utilize those people? Will we be better off putting those people on my real estate education company, Future Flipper? Will we be better off putting those people at Lunar Ecom? These are two companies that are much easier to scale with higher profit margins. So at the end of the day, if you're gonna put in the same amount of work to hire and recruit these people, what's the best opportunity to put them on? It's a tough question that I consistently ask myself. But nonetheless, when it comes to building the in-house team, I'm not too concerned about that. We've been able to attract and hire great people. It's really the contractor side of fixing and flipping that I really dislike. The third thing I don't like about house flipping is the market constraints. So when it comes to flipping houses here in Vegas, there is pretty much a cap to what I can do. At the end of the day, I could have scaled it to probably 200 a year. I would have had to spend more on marketing, I would have had to hire a bigger sales team, and I would have probably had to take less profit margin. If I did those three things, I could probably scale it in this market to 200 a year. But then we have the option again, once we reach that point, how do we scale it to 300 a year, to 500 a year, to 1,000 a year? Well, you're gonna have to probably go to other markets. At the end of the day, the best way to scale for us would have probably been to focus on Vegas, get it as far as we can with the profit margins that we like, and then do the exact same thing in another market. Now, when you're building out a team in a whole nother market, it is a big learning curve. You've got to learn those areas. You've got to hire the contractors, which we talked about. You are going to have to get salespeople out there to go on appointments. It's tough to go build a whole nother branch in another market. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's one of the reasons, once again, why I love digital business, because for Future Flipper or say Lunar Ecom, we don't have those market constraints. We are open to everyone in the world. It does not matter. I don't have to focus on the Las Vegas market. I don't have to focus on even the United States. We can do things internationally for the world because we are digital. So that's one reason why I am pursuing all of these digital businesses, because of market constraints. That leads me to the fourth thing I hate about flipping houses, which is risk. In order to scale a house flipping business, you've got to take on more and more debt like we talked about, and in turn, that means more and more risk. Now, up to this point, I've been perfectly fine taking risk. I know that we're buying good deals. We have always been profitable, but in order to scale, I'd have to take on significantly more. Am I willing to go take $50 million worth of hard money loans for my house flipping business? If house flipping was my only business and that was the only way I could scale, then potentially yes. But with every decision you make, you're weighing the risk versus the reward. So at the end of the day, is the risk of scaling the house flipping business worth the reward? Or should I do things that are less risky in nature but can still give me a great reward? Well, I've chosen the latter. There are so many other things I can do that don't require me to take on huge amounts of debt that in turn are huge amounts of risk. Now, with all that being said, I'm just giving you a high level of what it looks like once you reach this point of making millions flipping houses, and you have to decide whether or not you want to scale it to the next level. All the way up to this point, I believe house flipping is amazing. There are very few industries that I believe anyone can get into today and make 7 figures. House flipping is one of those industries. There are very few industries where I think people can go make $100,000 their first year. House flipping, you can. And there are very few industries that I think are going to last long term. real estate is going to be here long term. There's no doubt about it. So for 99% of you, house flipping is gonna be better than what you are currently doing. And if you wanna build your own house flipping or wholesaling business, you can actually be coached directly by me at futureflipper.com. You can apply for a free call with our team and they can give you more direction on which program is best for you. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you're subscribed and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.